This is a slick game. This is a slick game.
No. That ain't a slick game. Let me show you a slick game. You hear that? That's the sound of the future. PlayStation 1, baby. 1994. Ridge Racer is so slick that you can play Galaxian while you're waiting on the loading screen. This really is the future. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is Ridge Racer for the PlayStation 1. Now, Ridge Racer was a launch title for the... Jesus, that's loud. This game was developed by Namco and released for the arcades in 1993. A year later, for the PlayStation in 1994. To put into perspective, that's the same year that the first Donkey Kong Country came out. That's how old this is. Ridge Racer has an iconic soundtrack with songs like Rotterdam Nation, which sounds like the brainwaves of a schizophrenic man put into music form. I'm gonna keep it real with you. If you're playing a racing game and you're using automatic transmission, you're basically playing it on little baby mode. We're gonna go with that 4-on-the-floor manual transmission. Let's get it. I don't know what kind of X Games mode Namco was on during the PS1 era, but their output of games during the 90s is knuckin' futs. Tekken, Ridge Racer, the Tales of games, Ace Combat, like they were just cranking out heaters on the PS1. Check out this drifting. Look at this, boom! And then buttery smooth, baby. It's like butter. It's like butter. Rest in peace, Fife Diggy. Check this drift. Boom, look at that. Smooth. I don't even need to downshift. It was so smooth. Now, if y'all know me, if you've been watching my streams or my videos, y'all already know that Ridge Racer is my favorite racing game series of all time. Namco's got to bring Ridge Racer back. I don't even care if it's a new game or a remake of this game or Ridge Racer Type 4, or if it's a Ridge Racer Collection. I would buy anything, so long as it's not like Ridge Racer, I think it was 6 or 7 on the 360 and the PS3, which introduced a like a boost meter. Pretty much everything after Ridge Racer 5 was garbage in my opinion, but that's just because they got too cartoony with it. I think what makes Ridge Racer so good is that it's a perfect in-between balance of like a goofy, wackety, schmackety racing game and a realistic racing sim. The drifting is buttery smooth, the controls are great, but it's not a boring, like Forza, Gran Turismo sort of racing simulator.
Great job! I got everything on camera, so you'll watch it later, huh? You're the greatest!
You gotta love that soundtrack. My biggest complaint with this game is the lack of tracks. Daytona USA would come out in the same year in 1994, and that had 3 tracks. This game only has like 1 track, but when you bump up the difficulty, there are new paths, new roads that you can take. But ostensibly, there's only 1 racetrack in this game. And there is a mirror mode that you can do once you beat the game, but I've never beaten mirror mode because it's really freaking hard. I love the art direction in this game. The summertime, sunny, day at the beach vibes. That low poly, PlayStation 1, 5th generation aesthetic. It is so good, man. The only thing holding this port back is the frame rate. It runs at like 24 FPS compared to the original arcade 60 FPS, but it's still totally playable. Like, it's a smooth 24 FPS. There actually is a 60 FPS version of Ridge Racer 1 on the PlayStation 1. Some of the copies of Ridge Racer Type 4 included a 60 FPS version of the first Ridge Racer just to show like how much they improved with the PlayStation 1 hardware. Namco was just flexing on everybody like, yeah, we got a 60 FPS fully polygonal 3D game on the PlayStation 1. Fuck your life. Honestly, if Namco brought Ridge Racer back, I would want them to keep it low poly like this game. That's a big part of the old Ridge Racer aesthetic. I always hear goofballs saying, oh, frame rate doesn't matter, graphics don't matter. Well, go 30 minutes with Ridge Racer on the PlayStation 1, and then go 30 minutes with Ridge Racer on the arcade, and you can definitely feel the difference. Anyone who tells you that they can't tell the difference between 30 FPS and 60 FPS is lying to you. It doesn't matter how many times I play this game, the freaking twists and turns here will never fail to throw me off. Like, this shit is literally twisted. That's how you do it. First place, baby.
Yeah! It's a new record!
Beginner, mid-level, high level, all taken care of. Time for the final trial, the time trial. Let's do it. Actually, I'm gonna change the song because I'm going crazy listening to Rotterdam Nation. Listen to this. I'm just gonna shut up.
Wow, what a start! This is just what I wanted to see! Woo, that was a great counter! You must be one genius of a driver. You've got to teach me!
And there you go. Ridge Racer, baby, 1994. I wish Namco would bring this series back. I'm gonna will this series back into existence. I'm just gonna keep playing Ridge Racer. This is now a Ridge Racer YouTube channel. Some people might say this game looks ugly by today's standards, but I disagree entirely. The art direction is great. The sunny day at the beach vibes are great. I love that low poly aesthetic. Honestly, I would have played the arcade version if I knew how to set it up in MAME, but I couldn't get my USB steering wheel to work with it. But that being said, this is still a very competent home port of Ridge Racer, especially for 1994, for as old as this is. It's definitely a lot better than the Sega Saturn port of Daytona USA. Speaking of Daytona USA, Daytona USA. This was developed by Sega AM2, the same developers that hit us with Virtua Fighter, and basically the kings of the arcade back in the 90s, right up there with Midway. Now, if there is one thing Daytona USA is known for, it's the soundtrack. My man, Takanobu Mitsuyoshi on the vocals. Difficulty, arcade. Time limit, arcade. Translator's note, arcade just means really friggin' hard. Look at that UI design. Look at that. This is back when games had swag. Look at that finesse. Gotta go with manual. Gotta go with that 4 on the floor. Start your engine. Now here's the thing. I'd like to think that I'm pretty good at Ridge Racer. I am garbage at Daytona USA. This game has a really high learning curve and the controls are way different. 4-1-3-4 drifting. There's actually a bunch of different ways to drift in this game, but I like to just downshift and then upshift. You can do like a 4-2-4 drift or a 4-1-3-4 drift, which I think is easier to do. Yo, what's happening, Sonic? Gonna hit you with that boom, and then rock the analog stick back and forth. There we go, upshift into 4th. It's that easy, baby. Apparently, we're supposed to be in Daytona, Florida, but it looks more like we're in the Swiss Alps. Seriously, where in Florida are there big ass mountains like this? I've been to Florida. I didn't see any mountains. Oh gosh, darn it. The drifting in this game is really tough. I'm Dale Earnhardt. Check this out, NASCAR. Hey, that was pretty good. 14th place. I can do better than that. We can definitely do better than that. Let me put in my initials real quick, so that way y'all know this is my real gameplay. There have been people in the past that not only think that I'm AI, but think that I steal my gameplay footage, even though I put my initials in on the high score screen. I can imagine if you were in the arcades in 1994 when this game came out, it must have been mind-blowing. Playing Daytona USA on an actual arcade machine with the steering wheel and everything, that must be super fun. How's it going? My name's Jeff Gordon. This is NASCAR. Welcome to the 413 drift tutorial. Ooh, that was kind of clean, though. 11th place, huh? Maybe I need to turn the difficulty down a little bit. Okay, we're gonna turn that down to normal and see how that goes. I feel like I'm missing something with this game. I understand how drifting works. There are multiple methods to drift in this. I understand how to shift gears, right? But I feel like I'm missing something. Wasn't there a Sega fighting game by AM2 where the Hornet is a playable fighter? This car is like playable in a fighting game? I think it might have been like Fighters Mega Mix for the Sega Saturn. Speaking of the Saturn port of Daytona USA is so bad. The frame rate is pitiful. Like, okay, the PlayStation 1 port of Ridge Racer isn't the best way to play that game, but it's totally competent. It's a totally fine way to play Ridge Racer. Do not play Daytona USA on the Saturn. I just gotta remember what Lightning McQueen taught me. Crash into the walls. Went from first to fourth. Okay, we'll move on to the dinosaur level. Now, the first level is like, all right, it's just an oval. We're gonna dip your toes into the pool. We're gonna show you, we're gonna show you how this game works. You're gonna learn this one track. This track. Now, my objective for this race is to not crash the Hornet into a wall. Look, see, there's the dinosaur. That's why this is the dinosaur level. Ooh, did you see that though? Wait a minute. Ooh, Drift King. Uh-oh.
Let's go away. This is your Gucci because it's really tough, but it's a beautiful day, so good love. Let's go away.
Somehow, in spite of everything, we got third place. I almost had second place, and then that son of a bitch sniped it from under my nose. But look at that. I'd like to thank my friends and family who have supported me. All my life they doubted me, but when I get behind the wheel, I'm a demon. I'm not normal. I'm a genetic freak behind the wheel. What if you died, and moments before you die and go to heaven, this is what you see? I think I'd be okay with that.
Auto Modelista!
Auto Modelista might be the most obscure game that we're gonna play in today's video, but don't sleep on it. It's pretty good. This game was developed by Capcom and released for the GameCube, PS2, and Xbox in 2002. And I rented this as a kid, and I was really bad at it. And I'm sure that is not going to change here in this video. Unlike Ridge Racer or Daytona USA, which is super over the top and crazy, Auto Modelista is kind of chill. This game's got some Initial D vibes, but I'm probably just saying that because it's Japanese street racing. And we have actual real-life car brands. So if you want to whip around in a Toyota Corolla, go for it. I take it back, there is no Toyota Corolla in Auto Modelista, so actually this game is garbage. Let me tell you something, if you're picking out a car, don't go with Ford, don't go with Chevrolet, go with a Japanese car, Toyota, Honda. You can put 300,000 miles on that bad boy and it'll still be driving. We could observe the heat death of the universe and some dude is still gonna be whipping around in a Toyota Supra from like 2001. Look at that beauty. Shout outs to Honda.
Check it out!
And I'm pretty sure that announcer is the same announcer from Capcom versus SNK 2, but I could be wrong.
Osaka Highway!
Look at this game, man. It's freaking gorgeous. That's the thing about stylized art direction. This will never look bad. This looks good in 2026 and it looked good in 2002. Kind of reminds me of Jet Set Radio a little bit. It's got the same thick black outlines, cel-shaded sort of look. We can even go first person. Look at that, listen to that. It's like we're in the POV of the car. Great audio engineering. Something interesting about Auto Modelista is apparently the physics are totally different in the original Japanese PS2 version. I'm not sure, because I've never played the original Japanese version, but one of these days I'll have to give it a try for myself. I don't know why, but I get a summertime vibe from this game. Like, this is absolutely driving at night with the windows down, blasting some drum and bass sort of vibes, moving through the slipstream. Is that a real life thing? Or is that just something video games came up with? That might be an immensely stupid question, but I have never observed the phenomenon of a slipstream while driving. I don't know if that's actually a real thing. You can't really drift in this game. You kind of just have to slow down and downshift compared to Ridge Racer or Daytona USA. It's not a realistic racing sim by any stretch of the imagination, but it's not as crazy as a Ridge Racer. And you know what? Just for the fun of it, let's boot up the PlayStation 2 version of Automodelista. I said a moment ago that someday I would get around to this. I guess some days now. So this is the original Japanese PS2 version of Automodelista. Let's see how the physics and handling differ from the North American version. It's games like this which are why I'm such a huge proponent of emulation, because this game is so damn cool, and much like with Ridge Racer and Daytona USA, it's pretty much abandonware. You know, you can't play it on any modern hardware. You either have to play it on the original hardware, which is not financially sustainable considering how expensive retro gaming is, or you emulate it. Oh, this is one of those Japanese games where the X button is back and the circle button, the O button, is forward. Ridge Racer Type 4 is like that, and it always throws me off whenever I'm playing a PlayStation game where the circle button isn't back. Okay, well, I don't read Cyrillic. You know, there aren't as many race courses in the Japanese version, or maybe there are, but they're unlockable. The GameCube version had more tracks from the jump. We're just gonna go with this one. I think this was the Western Tokyo track. Oh, look at that. There aren't as many car brands either. No Ford, no Chevrolet. I can't say I'm really too hung up on not being able to drive a Ford Focus, but, well, I suppose that also means I can't drive a Mustang GT, which is, yeah, that's kind of bunk. You know what they say about Ford? It's an acronym. It stands for Found on Road Dead. Well, I would be doing you guys a massive disservice if we didn't hop in the Nissan Skyline, so I think that's what I'm gonna do. The UI is a little bit different, but overall the graphics are the same. I think the GameCube version might be running at a higher resolution. This looks a little bit interlaced, but maybe that's just the emulator. I mean, my totally real PlayStation 2. Shinjuku, here we go. Let's see how the controls fare between the original PS2 release and the GameCube release. Well, the handling feels a little bit better. Not by much, though. It feels about the same to me so far. Maybe it's a little bit less slippery. Is that a Mega Man Battle Network billboard? I just noticed that up there. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there is some way to drift in this game, and I'm just a big old dum-dum. I don't know what I'm doing. Well, there you go. Yeah, it doesn't feel too different from the GameCube version, the USA version, but either way, good game. I suck at it. I'm sure there is some tech that I'm not aware of, but Automodelista, don't sleep on it. I would love to see Capcom take another stab at this series, so long as it maintains the sort of cel-shaded art direction of this game. But yeah, those were 3 of my favorite racing games ever. Maybe not the 3 objective best racing games ever, but my personal favorite. Thank you for watching this video, and have a great rest of your day. See ya.